Go ahead, Habib.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Sorry, I've been told I don't have a lot of time, so I'll try to make this fast as possible. Before I start, I want to say I love you for the sake of Allah.
May Allah love you as you love me for
I've heard
His
a
sake.
lot of your talks and I'm a big fan.
Jazakallah khair.
The thing I wanted to ask you about is I've been struggling along with some of my other brothers and people I know that I've been speaking to with this issue, and the issue is that the more you start to learn about the Seerah and the Quran, you start to understand that us and our involvement in this side of the world, in the West, and what we're involved in regarding everything, almost everything, from tax dollars to the banking system to the food. The water's contaminated, the food's contaminated, the air's contaminated. We're involved in riba from every corner. We're pretty much funding the weaponization to Palestine. We have our hand in all the punishment that are brought forth by the Zionists and the Shayateen. And we're pretty much working as soldiers for them and bringing forth their agenda, waiting for the Dajjal to come to annihilate the Ummah at large. And it's depressing to know, and this thought is not leaving me along the other brothers, and I don't know where to start. The Prophet ﷺ said, the iman of you, your family, your children, and those that you're responsible for at risk, and hijrah is mandatory upon you.
Yes.
And there are many blessed places I've been looking that you can migrate, except
Bless you and the other brothers you're speaking about, for your concern for your iman and that of your family and your children, and no doubt we should have that concern. So about hijrah, at times hijrah is fard on you. When you cannot practice your religion's fara'id, like if you could not make salah, if your wife couldn't wear hijab, if you couldn't go for hajj, then hijrah becomes fard on you. And at times it's mustahab. Well, maybe you can do the fara'id, but you cannot go to the masjid for salah, you cannot grow your beard, or you cannot, well, that's wajib, but I mean things like, for example, if you couldn't wear a thobe and go to the masjid, or something like this, where you couldn't give sadaqah, then that would be mustahab. And at times it's mubah, and you could or you could not when the practicing is equal. And at times it's makruh, where you could do more where you are than where you would go. And at times where it's haram, where you cannot fulfill the fara'id that you need to do for where you go, right? This is just to understand that concept. It's not always in one category, right? Unfortunately, a lot of the world is drowning in riba. And not just in America and Canada. And I don't want to call countries out or anything like that. But if you look at the banking system of, I would say the vast majority of the countries in the world, they're all riba based. So if you think moving from Canada is going to get you away from riba, I mean, I live in the US, I don't deal with riba at all. Alhamdulillah, I bought my house, money, I bought my car, I never deal with riba, right?
I heard using credit is allowed, but you have to use credit without the interest.
We'll talk about credit cards in a minute, but I don't use credit cards. For myself, I have a debit card from my bank, and that's what I use. I don't have a credit score, it sucks because of it, but that's the way I live, right? I was dealing with some business for another brother, not for me, for a Muslim country. Not going to mention the name of the country. And when I looked at their business model, it was all riba based. So don't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to go somewhere and then you're going to be saved from this Dajjalic system. It's all over, right? Secondly, in Canada, can you go to the masjid? Well, you're here, right? Can you have a beard? Well, you have one. Can you pray? Can you go to the street and give da'wah? Huh? Can you give out Qur'ans? Right? Can you have programs in your masajid? Can your wife wear niqab and hijab and abaya? Huh? You're doing better than a lot of Muslim countries right there. There are Muslim countries by name that ban hijab. Some of them recently overturned that. There are Muslim countries that would not allow you to have the beard you have, that would put you in jail for it. Right? So understand, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side kind of a concept. Go and live in one of those countries for a little while and then see how it turns. And then, for example, if you move to one of those countries, what if your visa expires? What are you going to do then? Do they give you a passport from that country? No, you're a foreigner. Your visa expires, bye-bye. Where are you going to go then? This is not Darul Islam in the sense where you went to the Khalifa and they said, no matter where you're from, you're one of us. Right? You go there and they're like, brother, do your shopping, and then 3 months later, your visa's expired, get out. Right? So, don't be in a fool's world. Be real. And the reality is, wherever you go, you're going to struggle. And right here in Canada, you can practice your religion. And you can give da'wah. And if you're here to give da'wah, then that is permissible. And if you're here to just make money, then you need to leave. Now, your situation, I don't know personally. I don't know you, right? If you feel that your wife and you and your children cannot keep your Islam in Canada, and you know a place that you can, do it. Personally, I've tried and I've thought about it. And even what I did today, I went to the street, I gave da'wah. I could not do that in the majority of Muslim countries. They wouldn't let me. I don't have a tashrih and all this stuff, right? But in Canada, I can. In America, I can. In the UK, I can, right? So me moving there would actually make me less active for the deen than I am here, right? But that's me, that's not you. I'm not saying your situation is the same. You have to evaluate your situation. And if you talk about supporting the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, there are not a lot of countries that aren't involved in supporting. Where does Israel get their water from? Where do they get their gas from? Not the US. Go Google it, right? So be careful, right? Don't get caught up in emotions. Learn facts. Yeah? And then if you find a good Muslim land where you can practice more than you can practice here, and you can do your da'wah more than you can do here, and it's better, wallahi, go do it. Right? But until then, don't make an excuse to be lazy here. If you're here and you're paying taxes and you're living, why aren't you doing da'wah? Why aren't you there in the masjid? Maybe you are. I'm not questioning you. I'm saying generally. Right? If you're here, use your time for good. Use the freedoms you have for da'wah. Use your voice to stand up for the people of Palestine, of Gaza. Right? Be a change in the community, a positive change. Don't just sit there and negative and, oh, our tax, then this and that. No. Be a good change. And on that note, inshallah, we're going to end. Jazakumullahu khairan. And I want to thank TIC and all the masajid for this conference, which is an evidence of the good we can do. We have a packed masjid, we're giving da'wah. Utilize the positive to bring a good change in the ummah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallah feekum.
No clap. No clapping.
Let's say Allahu Akbar.
No clapping. We're not that kind of masjid.